once about Sir at Wingate. So you left Spain to swim at Wingate University. Looking back, what was the biggest challenge for you in making that transition? So what helped you adapt so quickly?
So there was a lot of challenges for me. The first one, and I think that my fiance can, can talk about that. My English was terrible. So now talking to students and internationals, that's something that I try to make sure that if they are not good at English, that they study hard. Obviously, the culture, I think that's everywhere, and everyone, it's not going to be the same, but that doesn't mean that it's not good. It's just different. And then last but not least, and the thing I think that what's kind of like the most important part is the swimming. I think in Europe and everything that's more club based is very individualistic. While here in college is way more, about the team environment. Everything is you go to competitions. Yeah, when you're swimming is your individual, like your name, but what shows in the scoreboard is actually like Tampa, etc. So I think that that's the biggest thing that was for me. It took me around 2 years to kind of get my hand around it and kind of like buy into it. And once I did, you just have so much fun, like going to meets, because you don't just swim for you just swim for everyone else. And I think that's you kind of lift a weight over your shoulders sometimes. And I think that because you don't focus so much on your personal goals, which you do obviously, but you also like the team goals matter probably more than your personal at some point. And I think what helped me a lot is spend time with I spend time with swimmers who've been there for a long time. I listen to your juniors, listen to your senior swimmers there, especially in internationals. I think that's super important that you do that. And also obviously like people who are close to you. I mean, I was lucky enough to have who was going to be my fiance there, and she helped me a lot. Yeah, surround yourself with people who you vibe with, who've been there in the same situation as you. And ask yourself, like, if everyone went through it, why can't I? And I think that you adapt yourself, give yourself time. The first semester is always the hardest, and after that it just you get the ball rolling, and you'll be fine.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit along the lines of these and your background, you competed at nationals at the Division 2 at Wingate. What did it take to reach that level, and what did you learn from competing there and competing against the best athletes at D2?
Mm-hmm. It took a lot. I mean, to get there, like it took a lot of training. We sometimes think about Division 2, they're not as fast as D1. Like it is so wrong. It is very wrong. I mean, when looking at the times that I needed to make just to qualify, was already like, like you have to train very hard. It's not a joke. You're going against swimmers who, some of them have been in the Olympics, some of them have been in European juniors, so there's a very high level. And then something that I learned from competing in D2 is exactly that like there's other opportunities than just the Power 4, D1 or mid majors. I think that Division 2 brings that balance, and I think that it's just a great experience to go to NCAAs and represent your university there, and be someone important and not just like a number. Like that's, and sometimes we get a lot of transfers that kind of felt like that, and here everyone is important regardless of whether you go to NCAAs or not. So it was definitely a challenge to get to NCAAs and compete and everything, but it was definitely like an experience that was very cool, and that I'm trying to have as many people as possible going there now. So
good, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now you are an assistant coach at the University of Tampa, yes? So can you give us a little bit of advice or a piece of advice to these international swimmers that are starting this recruiting journey, or they're starting to find out some info about it, or they want to start this recruiting and going to the United States?
Yeah.
Just a piece of advice.
So I have two, and the first one is to, when trying to make the decisions of coming to America, like take your time. We usually are like here at Tampa, we're very laid back and the reason is because we understand that it's not just like it's a commitment, but it's a life-changing experience. So for us, we are coaching staff that are very laid back in that sense. We try to give people as much time as possible to make that decision. We are not someone who is going to call you and you have to make the decision on the call. We've heard of those experiences. We're very much against that. And then the other one is to be very open-minded when coming here. Especially me as an international, I can see all these internationals coming in, and I'm able to be like guide them. Some of them are very like, the food, that's a very big topic here. The food, I've lived here for 9 years, and you can find good food. It's not about is it going to be as good as your country? No, but you can find good food and healthy food. I've never eaten bad in a restaurant, and that's something that a lot of people kind of complain about. I don't get it. And then open-minded also in the terms of swimming. The sooner you buy into the product of team, the team aspect of swimming, the better it's going to be, the more fun you're going to have, and the greater relationships you're gonna have with your teammates, the better relationships you're gonna have with your coaches, like professors, and everything is just gonna connect so much better, and you don't know what's gonna come out of having a good relationship with so many good people. So
yeah, that's what we were talking before, connections, network. Amazing advices. I mean, patience and patience and open-minded. Right, like I think these are great. It's about this misconception of Division twos and how maybe it's not as fast as D1 or whatever it might be. But many swimmers, especially now that I'm talking to so many of them, they all want to go to D1, right? And they all focus on Division 1. So based on your experience, you swam at a D2, you were really good at a D2, made nationals at D2, and now you coach at a D2. And it's a top University of Tampa. So what would you say to some of these athletes that are overlooking these Division 2s?
Yeah. I'm always very honest with it. I think that, is D2 slower than D1? Yes. But that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that the swimmers who are there are not as fast as most of the ones in D1. So for me, I think that unless you're a swimmer who is gonna go to a Power 4 school, and I mean ACC, SEC, Big 12, I think Division 2 is kind of like the way to go, because if you're not gonna make NCAAs in Division 1, you're probably gonna get cut, and then you have to transfer somewhere that you wanted, you didn't want. Like we have a lot of transfers in not a lot, but we have transfers in Tampa who come from Division 1 schools, and I think they got lucky to come to Tampa, but they could have gone somewhere else and maybe not like it. And so in Division 1, it's very much like if you don't make it, you're out, and that's basically it. And I think that D2 kind of brings that balance of academics and athletics. I think that it brings you a more like an actual season with like the mid-season, the conference, the NCAAs, and a much more an actual your last meet is not some random conference meet and that's it. So I mean, there's obviously if you are a very, very high level swimmer, like super high level, yes, like why not go to D1? But if not, I think D2 is just the perfect spot where you're gonna get a good education, because we get a lot of transfers that all they did in their school is just online, and here they come here and they're like, oh man, all the classes are in person. It's like, oh yeah. So here we care about who comes in the door. We care more about the person and not just necessarily the time. Obviously, at a certain point, times are important, yes, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna get kicked out or you're gonna be lesser than the person who wins, if that makes sense.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I'll always be an advocate of D2 because I swam there as well. So
Yeah.
I love D2.
Lynn University.
I was a coach or a GA at Kaiser. I even love NAIA.
Who was the coach there?
Adam Epstein.
Yeah, Adam. Yeah,
He's still there.